Welcome everyone to another exciting, fun-filled live by Danny DeHeck and the Avengers. Today we're going to take a little bit of a different approach. On a personal note, I've actually just gone into town. It's 2:10 in the afternoon and I decided I needed some Danny time. So I went to the hairdresser and got myself a haircut, which has got none left now. They always seem to talk about this part here the most. Anyway, it was good for me, and I've been rushing back. Now, I've been asking the Avengers, hello, Crypto G and Jelly Snack, nice to see you here, very loyal Avengers. Asking my Avengers, in between stops, I scooted into town. It takes me a good half an hour. I dropped into my mate's shop. I borrowed his power pack for 20 minutes and charged up my scooter. He bought me lunch. I had a can of Red Bull. And in between all that, my Avengers are coming back and forth with things that we need to talk about today. One of the most important things is if you are an investor in Goliath Ventures and you've realized you've lost a large sum of money, maybe your retirement fund, maybe you've mortgaged your house and you're concerned about getting your money back, we've actually put together a show today that is really designed to help you trust us so that you can confide with us. We're not here to expose anybody. I just received a message from somebody telling me that they were too scared to contact me and they've just contacted me now. And I'm saying, look, reach out to me on Signal. Do make touch with me. I will chit chat to you. I will not use any of the information that you provide in a public forum. We are literally directing people where we believe is the best way of any chances of getting any recovery. Now, yesterday they had Christopher, he had 18 Rolex watches. Who the hell needs 18 Rolex watches in their life? And how dare they spend your money like it was nothing? And we don't stand for it. We're strong. I've got one hell of a backbone, and so have my Avengers. And we're really watching everything at the moment. I even have individuals that are on the way to Florida to see Christopher in the courtroom, so they can eyeball him. I wish I was there. And there will be opportunities where I will be in the same courtroom with Christopher when he's either sentenced. They want me there. People want me there. I will take the risk at being in that courtroom. I will be sitting there watching Chris's girlfriend bawl her eyes out with no handbags. Some really good stuff's happened at the moment. And we're going to go through my speech, my presented notes that I've got today. So this live stream is going to be a little bit different than the usual investigative videos that I produce. Today I'm going to slow things down and talk about what just happened with Goliath Ventures Inc. There's things where things stand legally and what victims should be thinking about right now. Now, obviously, the first thing that every single victim reaches out to me to say, is there any possibility I can get my money back? These are the questions that we're going to answer for you today. Over the past few days, the situation has moved into an entirely different phase. And to be honest, it's one that the Avengers and myself have never really found themselves in. So this is new ground for us. And I'm getting inundated by people who provide professional services to victims that have lost $20,000. So somebody just reached out to me now and said they invested $20,000. And I'm thinking to myself, if you've invested $20,000, that means it was under the $100,000 threshold. That means that they probably invested 2, maybe even longer ago. They would have been receiving maybe 5% return. And that means if they've invested $20,000 more than 18 months ago, they probably actually made money. So I've got to go through that person and say, well, can you please give me a copy of the contract? Now, that person might not want me to see that contract. They might not trust that they can trust me having a look at that contract. I don't care if you have deposited $20,000 into Goliath Ventures and received $19,000 worth of dividends back and still out of pocket $1,000. I don't care. That's good. That's what we want to know. These are the type of intel that helps us continue this investigation. People speaking out. Now, I've got some unique opportunities for people who are victims, and I believe the ones that speak out the most have got more chances of getting their money back. Hello, my heroes in the chat rooms. I see Susie's just popped in. Good afternoon. Now, I am actually going to do something a bit different here because I'm going to be waffling for a wee while, and I think my microphone There, my microphone's back now. Now, there's a couple of things I'm going to do. First thing I'm going to do is going to show you a very nice house for a start. So do you know whose house this is? Well, this is one of the persons. I don't even know what Mike used to do for a living, but this is his house. Now, are you telling me that there's no assets in here that have been acquired from ill gain, making money? So this is Mike, and I can't pronounce his last name. Chmielewski. Now, I heard that he's got his whole family involved in it, except his brother. His brother started talking to me. His brother was threatened if he doesn't stop talking to Danny DeHeck, that his father was going to revoke his bond. His brother, David, went to jail because they revoked his bond because he spoke to me. And since then, we've heard that he's out of jail, but he literally went to jail because he was talking to Danny DeHeck and providing information. This is the house that Michael theoretically lives in, going by our investigation. Now, let me tell you this, because just the other day, Michael sent out this, "Good morning. As many of you may already be aware, Christopher Delgado has been arrested on charges of wire fraud and money laundering. You can add yourself to the victim as a victim by contacting the IRS directly at blah, blah, blah. I do not have any additional information beyond what has been made available in the related court documents down below." Now, this guy here sent that out to his downline on March the 1st, 2026. Good on you. So when you go to get one of these letters, you can click on the bottom, and on the bottom, you can basically subscribe or unsubscribe. And when you do unsubscribe or resubscribe, it actually gives you the address of the person's MailChimp. And he's put this address. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the address. That is the house that somebody who had no money before Goliath Ventures started is now living in a house like that. And that's why we want to go after the partners, and we want to seize their assets. We want their books. Any crypto wallets, everything has to be handed over to the receivership. So I just thought I'd throw that in there for now. Now, there is also something else I'll show you while we're doing a bit of a show and tell. This is Christopher sitting outside his place just literally hours ago. Somebody on the golf course obviously zoomed in. It's not the best photo, but that's what happens when you've got an ankle bracelet. And unfortunately, we can't see the ankle bracelet, but I just thought I'd throw that in there for a bit of a laugh. And that's all over our social media at the moment. Now, I did start down a course, and I just need to go back to my notes. Assets could disappear without a swift intervention. I've lost my train of thought, unfortunately, but I did have it there for a second. The sound is a bit low. Yeah, hopefully I'll fix that now. Let me know if the sound's coming across. I didn't have the echo button clicked, but it should be right now. All right, so I just showed you we had a newsletter, and I need to go back to my notes, and I've actually lost my train of thought, unfortunately. Oh, I know what I was going to do. So I needed to go to this window, and I needed to get my my chat room. Right click. I think I can copy it. And I needed to hopefully put that back on my main screen. So let's have a look and see if I can do that. I'll go back to the main screen and chat room. There we go. So I think it's nice if you can have the chat room visible. I'll put the chat room over here, and I'll even make it a little bit bigger than normal, I think. There we go. So now when you ask questions, you can actually see them coming up on the screen, and I'm going to do the best. Because today what I want to do is encourage people who have invested to actually... oh, that's not working, Daddy. Now we've got problems. Houston, we have problems. Let's put it back again. Ooh, yeah, so maybe I'll just leave it there. Whoops, now I've got more problems. Hold up, 1 minute, please, caller. Yeah, so I want the chat room there so you guys can ask questions. And I've done it again. All right, I'm just going to leave it where it normally is. But the only problem is if I put my hand over here, it's on top of my screen. I was trying to put me underneath. But let's leave the chat room there. I'm lying. I'm not. I'm going to move it over here. Okay, I want to put it there. And I want to make it a bit bigger. There we go. And now we'll lock it. And if my head goes over here, you'll see I'm under the chat room, but that's okay. All right, this is what you call. Okay, so federal authorities have filed a criminal complaint alleging a $328 million fraud scheme in Florida. A judge has taken an extraordinary step by appointing a receiver to take control of Goliath Ventures after determining there was immediate, I can't say that quite right.
Immediate and irreparable.
Immediate and irreparable risk that assets could disappear without swift intervention. Now, why is it interesting? Well, yesterday we did a pretty live. We did a live where we were showing that Nick Patel was switching the license plate number from one vehicle to the other, which was actually really, really interesting that he was doing that. But obviously, of all these partners, so let's just say Christopher had 18 Rolex watches. I said 10 yesterday, but we worked out there's 18. That was $3.5 million worth just in watches. Let's say Christopher had all those cars. He may have paid $12 million for them originally, but they reckon at today's value and having them for more than a year, they could literally claim 6.7 million back, which is really good. Now, let's just say that all the other partners have done the same. We know they've got Rolls Royces. We know they've got Ferraris. We know they've got Lamborghinis, whether they've got hire purchase. We know that they've bought expensive houses. We know that Matt Burke has bought his neighbour's house. We know that he spent $1 million refurbishing his own house. We know lots and lots and lots of money has been spent. So let's get someone to recover the assets from all the partners. And that's what we do. Now, there is money there and there is money in the assets. So let's get as much as we can back. Because they said they're a crypto company, we may be all worried that the fact that all the money was lost in crypto. Well, we did talk yesterday about how Andrew Tate lost $1 million doing leverage trading. I did show you 3 yachts in Croatia, and Tomo, Mike, and Christopher were on these cruise ships with Andrew Tate. So there is a possibility that they may have actually put some money into leverage trading and actually lost it. So there is some money possibly going that could be lost, but the majority of the money that has come in via bank, and the government has actually managed to track that money to the bank, which is great, and that's good news. And any money that's transferred from the bank into crypto, there will be a be able to track that. But because they were claiming they were a crypto company, does not mean that 90% of the money, which it should have been, actually went into crypto and never to be seen again. So most of the scams that I bust are all crypto related scams. And once the money is paid in with crypto, you bug it. But in this case, because they were dealing with high stake money, most people paid with the bank. And the ones that were paying with crypto, a lot of the time that was transferred into Wise's, into banks. So that's a positive. So let me get through my speech and I'll show you what we've got prepared for you. So they've appointed a receiver after determining that, there's a high possibility that these guys are now going to try and hide these assets. Now, you might think that these guys are victims, but why were they sticking their nose into Chris's business if Chris is the only person they're going after? So we need to go after all the partners. We've calculated around about 18 people were high revenue. They were receiving a lot of the dividends from what was happening. And a lot of those people, in my opinion, were probably $4-5 million paid out. So if we go after all their assets and all their houses and everything like that and go for the recovery, there's a good chance we can probably scrape up $1 million worth of money from somewhere and then give it back to the investors. So if there's a $328 million Ponzi scheme and everyone's paid in $328 million and we get 100 million back, then potentially you could get a third of your money back. Now, it doesn't sound total like a loss, especially if you've put all your life savings in your retirement funds. I don't want to give you false hope, but there is a chance that there's some money there just in the assets. So let's go after the assets first, and that's what the courts have done. They've appointed somebody to actually go after the assets. This means the situation has shifted into
speculation.
Shifted from speculation to and allegations to formal legal proceedings. So they've actually appointed somebody to do something. The receiver has now got the authority to secure bank accounts, digital wallets, and company records while investigations attempt to locate him. Thank you very much. That's very kind. Thank you very much for that. The super chat. Love those. Haven't had one of those for about 2 months. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
While investigators attempt to locate and preserve any remaining funds.
So that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to figure out where the money is. For many people watching, this moment may feel overwhelming. And like we talk about grief and the 5 stages of grief, and I rattle them off when I'm not live and when I do. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to be angry. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to be negotiating. And then you're going to be, acceptance is the last one, depression, and I've forgotten the 5th one already. But if you've just found out, and a lot of people have just in the last 10 days, that this was a fraud, some people we know are still thinking that Christopher is not the man that the media and the government are claiming they are, which is really hard for me to comprehend. Just remember, Christopher has voluntarily handed himself in. Remember, Christopher has actually been helping with the investigation weeks before he handed himself in. Remember, they had they had a court order to a subpoena to go after the banking records about 3 months ago. So if you put those 3 facts in there, you've got Christopher handing himself in, Christopher helping with the investigation, and also 3 months ago, I know there was a court order where they seized the bank records. And that was all part of the investigation. So if you add those 3 things together and you still think Christopher could be innocent, then you really need to actually go and talk to somebody. Maybe not me. Just saying. All right. So some of you may be angry. So that's the first sign of grief, anger. Some of you may be confused about what to do next. And that's what we're going to try and help you with today. And unfortunately, some of you may be realizing that money you believe was invested safely may not be recoverable. And we're going to talk about that today as well. If that is how you are feeling right now, I want to say something clearly right at the start of this broadcast. And that is, you are not alone. There's 2,000 people from our research that we believe are not experiencing similar situations to yourself. And I really want to say that we are working for the investor. We're doing it free of charge. We survive by donations, and I'm going backwards financially, but we are here for the investors. If you're feeling embarrassed, you're worried about your professional image, whether you've borrowed money and your family doesn't know about it, you're not alone, because 70 or 80% of the people we talk to, they haven't told their wives that they've invested this money. And I understand you want your privacy, but I'm actually saying to you that if we really want to make a difference here, and let's say the head investigator from Homeland and Security that took on this case after I rang him up and told him about it, he said to me that he's been doing this for 20 years. And he said, never has he seen anything. Thank you again. Look at this, money's been thrown at me. Stop it, embarrassing me. Never has he seen an investigation happen so fast. Now, when I was helping them with Bitcoin Rodney, which was part of Hyperverse, I was in a meeting, Microsoft Teams meeting with the IRS. And they wanted to see a video where he had admitted that he was involved with this $1.9 billion scam. I've always called it a $4 billion scam. Different story, different day. And the IRS said to me that if everything is all as good as you can get, all the ducks are in a row, they know where the money is, they know who took it, and they have victims coming forth telling them they've lost their money, it takes 2 years before you get an indictment. 2 years. Well, this is since December the 1st, so I don't even know how many months that is. Somebody might want to tell me in the chat room. But is it 5 months, 6 months? So this is unheard of. So You know, like this is the fastest anybody's ever been charged that I know of. And even the head investigator said, a financial fraud has a very real emotional impact. Victims often experience disbelief, anger, embarrassment, and fear about the future. Many people blame themselves for trusting the wrong opportunity. And I've said it in many of my videos that these schemes only survive with trust. These guys go out there and they give out to, well, let's just use Chris, right? So he's gone out there and got involved in all the charities. He's got involved with the realtors or the real estate agents, the policemen, the firemen, and he's gone into those communities and acted like a hero. And everyone's sitting there, all his pack of wolves around him, the partners that have been endorsing bad behavior. And they've been ignoring the red flags. Willful blindness is what they call it. You know, Chris has been getting all this money and no one's sat there and questioned where the money's coming from. No one's ever questioned why Christopher isn't working like a mofo in the office. He's never on the phone talking business. He's out there pissing up the money. That's what people have done. They have just watched this go by. And so this is why people he's built that trust with people. And then he's just pulled the carpet out from underneath their feet. And now people are blaming themselves for what has just happened. I should have known better. I should have seen the red flags. But you're not alone. You are not alone, is the words that we want to go through today. These operations are designed to look legitimate, sophisticated, and trustworthy. Now, put a 7 in the chat room if you know what water-cooled crypto mining is. Do you know what the water's for? Because if the CPU in the computer that mines for crypto gets too hot, it's not as productive. So if you do know what water-cooled crypto mining is, put my hand up. But I can guarantee that most people go, oh, yeah, I know about crypto. Do you know about mining for crypto? And you know it's getting harder to mine for crypto. So the cost of Bitcoin goes up. So these guys are claiming that they've got containers, and I actually have to show you a photo, and I don't want to get distracted, but we got some photos yesterday, which I was absolutely amazed to see, and I'm no doubt you will be as well. And apparently somebody woke up this morning and told me that they've seen these photos, and I said, where did you see these photos from? And they said it was on your website. And I went, oh, I forgot I put them online. Like 1, 2 o'clock last night, I'm up posting these posts. So here's Nick. Now remember, I'm not going to get distracted too much here, but Nick claims that $40 million, he's owed $40 million from Christopher. And he's put in a lawsuit with Jordan Shaw, who coincidentally is also the man that went to the judge and said they need to appoint a receiver. Nick is asking the courts to give him $40 million that has come from rewards for throwing people over the cliff. Now, people are saying that Nick is a victim, and that is a complete 100% lie. He is not a victim. He's a predator. He smoos with people. He's meant to be quite a nice person, softly spoken, and we're getting some amazing intel. Now, if you are researching Nick, I can give you about 8 PDF documents which will show that his historical past is shady as hell. And I'm willing to give them to any lawyer who wants access to these files. If you're a lawyer, you write to me, Danny, DANNY, at dehek.com, and you contact me via Signal. Give me your lawyer email address in your office, and I promise you, I will give you 8 PDF documents that will crucify Nick Petrillo as a predator, someone who goes after people and defrauds them. And that will have nothing to do with Goliath Ventures. I just want to give you the full picture of what this guy. So we are full-on researchers. Avengers are available for hire if you want to hire us commercially to do research on individuals. But what I'm telling you now is we've researched all of these partners, and these partners are not victims. And this is why we're so angry with people like Jordan Shaw, who makes statements stating that he has reason to believe there could be $1 billion locked up. And then he's got his hand up saying here, we will take on cases. But he's representing Nick Petrillo. So here's a photo of Nick and Christopher standing in front of the water-cooled crypto mining. Do you think they are business partners? Or do you think Christopher is actually just paying him rewards for recruiting people into so these are the water-cooled crypto minings that they were claiming they were going to do. Now, if you don't know the background about this, it's not rocket science, it's the heck science. But these were owned by an independent company. And this independent company had these containers that were $250,000 each, and they could be broken into 10 different segments. And then they could find investors for each segment, and that was the investment opportunity that they had available. So that's the start. Now, this project didn't get off the ground. But in the meantime, I believe that these guys started raising investors to get involved in this thing. Then, when that failed, they changed their focus onto liquidity pools, which we also have shown now that they had no real money in Uniswap or in Coinbase. And this crypto operation that was making up this ridiculous amount of return on investment that people were thought they were getting, 3 to 8% per month, never actually happened. So the whole lot and the whole Ponzi scheme is a straight Ponzi scheme. And that's why we're quite good about that, because now we know that the money has been stored in banks, and that could be where a lot of the money comes back from. So I hope you've enjoyed those photos. I hadn't seen those. They were off Nick Petrillo's Instagram account. So these guys are now deleting their social media. And if I was to give advice to anybody, I'd be saying to anyone that's associated with Goliath Ventures is deleting your social media. It's a little bit too late for that. And it's quite comical. And it's actually alleging guilt, in my opinion, once you do that. So I hope you enjoy those photos. But all those people there who believe that Nick Petrillo is a visitor, there's something here that happened 3 or 4 years ago, way at the start of Goliath Ventures. And here they are standing inside these water-cooled crypto mining places. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. So what we're going to do is going to go back to my script. I'm getting off scripted as I think of things I want to tell you guys. So these operations are designed to look legitimate, sophisticated, and trustworthy. Well, there you go. You've got a photo there you've probably never ever seen. During the broadcast, we're going to discuss some home truths about what has happened. Well, I just did. We're going to talk about what the receivership actually means, what victims should be doing right now, how to organize your records, and how to document your story, and what steps people may want to consider next. So, as I said at the start, I'm going to slow the whole thing down. We've got lawyers lawyering up. I don't know if there's such a word as that. But you've got these lawyers are now saying we're going to do class actions and we're going to go after, Goliath Ventures, and we're going to go after the banks and insurers and the accountants and all this sort of stuff, and go after the professional indemnity insurance. That's great. Everyone does that. So I found out recently. But the point is that we really want to go after the low-hanging fruit first, and that is basically the recoverables, the assets. We want to go after everyone's LLC companies. We want to investigate who owns them, what assets they've tried to protect. We want to sell their houses. I heard originally, and yes, tomorrow's meeting, which is going to be 22 hours ago, a day ahead. So tomorrow in 22 hours time, we're going to be holding a meeting where we want people to come on stage and talk to me and practice being on stage and telling us their story. You don't have to have your camera on. You can just use your voice. People may figure out who you are, but let's be brave and let's do this. So I want to slow it down. Also, about giving. This is about giving the victims a voice. I'm nobody. I'm a YouTuber. I'm on the bottom of the earth, hanging on for dear life in Christchurch, New Zealand, and I'm 8,000 kilometres away from where the majority of this happened. Some happened in Canada, and others happened in Florida or Orlando. And I've got a big voice in this. I was hoping to be in the courtroom and eyeball Christopher. And I'm going to make sure that I'm in one of the court appearances where Christopher's standing on the dock and I'm sitting there in the audience and he can eyeball me. And that's something I'd like to happen. I have had a few offers where people said things like that, but that is my personal thing I'd like to do. So there's an international journal. So what we've got now is I've got 3 big journalists which have an international audience are currently looking for Goliath Ventures stories. Every journalist that reached out to me, so the only real decent interview I had, I had 6 interviews when I was in America. One of them was with Fox 35. Now, most of the TV channels that interviewed me said I couldn't really promise me an interview, but they'd listen to my story. So I went to NBC and I talked to a lovely guy there, Gary Gray, I can't remember. But anyway, he was great and he started doing research, and yes, they've done a little story on it, but haven't really done the big news on it yet. And then we also talked to Shannon Butler from Channel 9 News. She was really cool. She said they had threats from Eric Clayman at one stage, basically saying that anything that I'm saying is a lie and not to publish it, or they'd get threats. And she said it didn't intimidate me, she said. However, the fact that they were trying to stop the news outlets actually speaking about it was actually breathtaking. So the interesting thing for me was Fox 35 News, when they met me with a TV camera, and I actually got an Uber. I was staying in a really nice place. What was it called? Something Creek? Spring or Shingle Creek? And I had a lovely room there, all set up for the media. But I said, look, and they were telling me they're going to be there in 40 minutes. And I said, why don't I just get in an Uber and come to you guys? So I went to their offices. They met me with a camera. They interviewed me for an hour and a half. And I talked to somebody there, I've forgotten his name, but Matt Tanzi. Really nice guy, great interview. That was the only people that put me on camera. And they still didn't use that footage. They might do one day. I hope so. But what I'm saying is I'm nobody, theoretically, and I've actually had a voice. You guys have invested. You've got a story to tell. And we've got 3 big journalists that want people to reach out to them. Now, I'm not going to tell you who they are. And I'm doing that because they can ask you and they can interview you, and then they can tell you what they were going to do with your story, and you can make an informed decision. But I'm just sort of saying, don't sit here and do nothing. There's a time where you need to speak, and there's a time you need to be quiet, so my mum told me. This is the time to speak and be brave. Don't be embarrassed. Don't worry about your representation. I think you'll get more brownie points in life by telling your story than you will keeping it until your dying grave, as they say. Anyway, let me get on. And anyway, the reality is that investigators and the media need to hear from people who actually lived through this. Behind the headlines, I'm not even saying that. So we've obviously had the headlines of $328 million has been stolen by Christopher. But we want to hear from humans behind. We want to hear impact. Families affected, we want to hear from. Friendships that have been damaged through this. Financial futures disrupted. I mean, I've heard stories of some people now that can't go into retirement and now need to carry on working for another 3 or 4 years to get themselves back up to speed. If you've invested, if you were recruited into the opportunity, if you attended presentations that promoted the program, or if your family was affected by what happened. Now, that's the other side of it. A lot of people don't realize that we're getting family members that are trying to convince the investors in the family to actually speak out, and they don't want to. And families don't know what to do. We've got some help for you today coming up. This is an opportunity to speak. Now, you don't need to have your camera on, and you don't need to come on stage when I'm doing it. But if you really want to think about it, why don't we do a bit of a test? So tomorrow, around about this time, I'm going to be offering people to come on stage and tell their story. And in that particular situation, you don't need to have your camera on. It's fine. You don't need to share anything that you're not comfortable with. But if you're ready to talk, and you might be still going through anger, grief, acceptance, and all that sort of stuff, this is the place where the conversation begins. Fraud thrives in silence. But when people start speaking openly about what happened, it helps investigators understand the full scope of the situation. It helps their victims come forward, and it helps prevent others from falling into the same trap. So my Avengers have been relentless. Some of the media have actually reported what we're doing as a, we've just full force, full tilt, as they say. But we have been a relentless campaign now why do we do this? Because we are still investigating Goliath Ventures. The investigation's not over. We've just opened the lid on it. Now the victims will help us do a better investigation. So right now, while it's fresh, while it hurts, when you're most vulnerable, this is when you really need to speak up. Because every day we get a new an investor in that we haven't heard of their circle of friends and family that have got all involved. When we hear whole families have invested, it's disgusting. I mean, I used to do networking. I used to get small to medium-sized businesses together on a weekly basis. And I used to go after real estate agents. I used to go after plumbers, tradies, let's go mortgage brokers, let's go insurance providers, let's go business coaches. And they all used to have their own communities. And I used to draw these round circles, and everyone's community overlaps a little bit. And it's brilliant because when I tapped into one community, it opened the doors into other communities. And this is what's happening at the moment. We're getting investors that are coming to us now who have lost $20,000. We get an investor that's lost $5 million. But the $20,000 investor actually has friends that have invested 40, 50, 70,000, and then 100. And then we find that they've pulled their money together and reinvested as a group of people. And this is what we're trying to do. We're still investigating we want to find all 2,000 investors, and we want to make sure that your voice is loud and clear. I'm happy to be the man behind the camera and blast out the information that we get, but we still need people to speak. If you don't speak, the fraud wins. So in this broadcast, we're going to walk through the reality of what has happened, step by step, discuss where things stand legally, and create space for people whose lives were actually affected by Goliath Ventures Inc. So let's get into it. Okay, so I hope that was good enough. And it's so nice to see so many people in the chat room. If you've got any questions in here, please put them in the chat room. You can see the chat room behind my head. Now I've got myself all groomed up here quite nicely. You can actually see no fuzzy bits. This is obviously what I've just shown you. That's Nick Patel and Christopher Delgado, if I'm saying that right, standing in front of the water cool things. And there they are in front of the containers. So that's where they were talking about doing this crypto mining. Oh, look, there's a lady on the very edge here, which I haven't seen before. So that didn't actually eventuate. Nothing eventuated. We showed you that Mike and his father and his brother have all invested in Goliath Ventures. Chmielewski. And we showed you his house where he lives. Now, this isn't a shabby house. It's even got a bow on the front of it there, so it must be Christmas time. But if I come through here and I looked at some of the things that I've seen him do, page not found. So don't you think it's unusual that he's taken down his website if he's done nothing wrong? So I didn't even know that. So his website has been taken down. So who is this guy that thinks he can take your money and then remove his website? And why is he removing his website right now? Because he's an innocent man? Let's have a look and see what he used to have up there as a website. Because at one point it was a website. So if you go to the Wayback Machine, if you go to dehec.com, you hold your mouse over utilities, you'll find something that's called the Wayback Machine. This is when he was hosting his website with HostGator. We'll see if we can go back a little bit. But I don't even know what he used to do. But he's got one hell of a flash house now, hasn't he? He drives Ferraris and Lamborghinis now, doesn't he? So how come he can do that? Let's see if we can find a website of some sort. No, I'm just going to go back to one of these dates. Love to know what this guy used to do. No. Okay, so he's one of the guys that have been on JB's podcast.
Conor McGregor was a big believer in the law of
Still
attraction.
is.
In his rise to fame, after one of his fights, he had an amazing speech, and what he said was, it's like, if you could see it in your mind and you can speak it into existence, he says it will become reality. You hang out with 5 losers, you're going to be the 6th, right?
If you hang out with 5 losers, you're going to be the 6th. I love that statement.
Hang out with 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th. It's that simple. It's the same thing with energy. I cannot have people with negative energy in my life. Like, I can't think of one friend that complains. I sold my rental
Listen to this.
property in Canada. I used up all my lines of credit. I spent all my cash. I literally, like, the risk I took was spending all my money and using all my debt just to live a lifestyle with Chris, just to be around him enough to absorb enough information until I got to the point where I was able to pay all that back off and make way more on top of it. But that's the risk I took.
So isn't that crazy? So that there is a statement in itself. So that's a podcast that probably won't be on the
Welcome
internet.
to another episode of Structural Success Podcast. It's your favorite host, KB. Today I have a very special friend in front of me. The gentleman here is a Muay Thai champion, 4.0 GPA, I can't believe that, engineering. Gentleman, it comes from the financial tech world, crypto world. He's one of the directors at Goliath Ventures. He's standing right in front of me. Welcome, Mike Shimolsky.
Pleasure, brother. Nice to meet you.
Hey, buddy. Finally, a lot of back and forth via text, IG, DMs, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Right? First and foremost, happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, I forgot. My birthday was a couple days ago.
That's right. Your birthday a couple of days ago. A mutual friend of ours, our brother Tomo.
Yeah, his birthday's the day after mine.
Yeah.
So last year we were in Poland.
Do you see all these partners? Do you see what's happening here, guys? So these guys, Mike literally just said that he sold everything he owned, sold his house in Canada, obviously moved to Florida, I believe. Is that what he just said? And now he's following his brother Chris. And he said, if you've got 5 loser friends, you're number 6. So isn't it just, don't you think that's just amazing? So that there probably won't last on the internet too long. I've spoken to KB in the past, and I said, you've interviewed all these Goliath people, you've endorsed bad behavior, and he told me to F off, basically. So if you don't know about Stroke of Success, he had a stroke and he's pulled himself way through it, and then now he's interviewing all these guys. So I just put that link in there. Just one more comment about telling the story. All the predators of the scheme want to stay silent. They don't want to speak out and share what they've done. So if these guys are victims as well, then why don't they take up our opportunity of coming here and speaking on camera rather than hiding what they've done? Is it because their lawyers said they shouldn't speak to anybody? And if their lawyers offering them that sort of advice, why have they lawyered up in the first place? I know Tay, which is Chris's girlfriend, if I'm saying that right, she's lawyered up. Now, she's probably lawyered up because she wants to keep $1 million worth of assets Chris has bought her over the last 12 months. These videos speak for themselves. These videos show that these guys had nothing. Now, this guy on the camera right now theoretically lives in this house. Where did he get the money from? This house needs to be, taken off. So you can watch that video. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to let this play for a wee bit, and I'm going to show you, the next step is we're going to show you the receiver's email. And I wish I could actually get the text version of that so I can read it, but I don't think we can. But let's see what happens.
Together, actually.
Yeah.
We did that military
Okay,
training event in Poland, and we celebrated our birthday together.
That's
He sent me a photo. My birthday was actually the day we were driving to the event.
I didn't hear
We were
about
driving
your
from
birthday.
Warsaw to Poznan in Poland, and we were driving to the event. So he sent a photo of us eating lunch at a gas station. I was like, oh, happy birthday to me.
Yes. Yeah.
gas station lunch.
So we have a lot of mutual friends. Let's start from there quickly.
Okay.
Tomo, number 1. Number 2, Stephen.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. David.
Yeah.
We got Mr. Chris Delgado,
Of course.
the OG, of course. Sanjay. Sanjay, I call him the mayor of Orlando.
Yeah.
You know, the guy knows everyone. God bless him. I love him to death. Wow.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Excuse me? Did anyone just hear that? Now, you might think that we sit here with popcorn and watch all these meetings, but I'm just going to go play that again. And I think every single Avenger would have just gone, what the F? I'm going to play it again.
Event, so he sent a photo of us eating lunch at a gas station. I was like, oh, happy birthday to me.
Yes. Yeah.
gas station lunch.
So we have a lot of mutual friends. Let's start from there quickly. Tomo, number one.
Tomo, number one. Tomo, aspiring rejuvenational clinic, who's been flaunting his money. We've heard that the clinic is spending more money than it makes. Leave it at that.
Number two, Stephen.
Yeah.
Stephen, a fireman that claims that he was a fire chief, and he wasn't. He was like a field commander, not a fire chief. And he confronted me when I rang him, and we got it all on video. The fire chief. And he's got a book. He bought himself a publishing company, got himself a book on Amazon. It's had 7 reviews. 2 of them are bad reviews. And now every time somebody speaks to him, his book publishing company rings them up going, hey, you've got a great story. Let me publish a book. People are getting sick of it. Just saying, Steve. And then who else?
Right. Yeah. David.
Yeah.
We got Mr. Chris Delgado.
Of course.
So David. So who's David? David. David. So Chris Delgado.
The OG, of course. Sanjay. Sanjay, I call him the mayor of Orlando.
Yeah.
So the mayor of Orlando, Sanjay. Interesting. It's funny that this guy grouped all those people together, because a lot of people have been asking me to. I know everyone that's just mentioned in that conversation have all invested in Goliath Ventures. That's really, really interesting that and I know that this guy is friends with everybody that he's just mentioned. So I'll leave it at that. David Panzak. Yeah. So we will actually bring that up, because I think Goliath Ventures, our team, I think that's actually a crack up. So remember, you can go to archive.org if you're still trying to find the website. And if we go to probably that 2006 one, I'll just bring up this. So hopefully we'll bring in the right one. So there's our team. So you got Nick. Oh, look, they've got 6 in a row. Oh, have they? Oh, no. Must be, they added more. So we've got David. So this guy here, which I think is also a fireman. All these firemen, policemen, fishermen are all now financial advisors. I mean, you can't make this shit up, but you guys know that now. And Chris. So there we go. So that's the team there so far. Nice house there. Whoop, there's Christopher out there enjoying the morning sun, but not for much longer.
Yeah, the guy knows everyone. God bless him. I love him to death. Wow.
Well, he's a good friend of mine.
Good friend of mine, my
Didn't
brother.
make it to my birthday, but
Hold it a minute. Is that is that the one I think it is? Oh my God.
I still love him.
Wow, it's amazing. So the way I came across you, and of course, there was from Stephen to Tomo, the Goliath people, then you came on, of course, the stories. I was very fascinated at a very young guy, relatively young, super successful. And I started looking at your profile, the Muay Thai. That showed me solid discipline.
Yeah.
So I'd like to go back in the childhood of a person. I believe, based on my research, Mikey, your subconscious mind is formed between 0 and 7. Mm-hmm. Your beliefs are formed at that time. Your habits are then formed from that. I want to get into your childhood. What type of household was it? Middle class, upper class?
No, I mean, my parents, I'm the only one out of all my brothers born in Canada. I've got 2 brothers born in Poland and 1 born in Germany. So I'm the youngest, and I was born in Canada. So I grew up, obviously, in an immigrant family, close to Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And, just hardworking immigrant parents that came and, started working on the farms. First of all, back in the time when Canada was actually the land of the free, or land of opportunity, let's call it, right? Where you could come and
Make a life
and,
for yourself.
and make a life out of yourself. If you're an immigrant, you're working hard, and even on a minimum wage job, you could, afford a house and all that stuff. I mean, that's changed now. Canada's gone downhill. It's hard to survive over there. But, my parents worked very hard. First thing you do as an immigrant is like get on the farm and like where you can work immediately, essentially, right? Did that, they opened up.
We might come back to that. I've just got myself prepared for the next section. So remember, this guy has actually invested in Goliath Ventures. So he's a victim, not. He's also encouraged his father to invest, and I think his uncle to invest in Goliath Ventures. And they've actually managed to put his brother in prison because they revoked his bond because he spoke to me. And the guy's now out of prison. And he came out of prison only probably a couple of weeks ago. So just bear in mind, this guy that you might think is a victim and a nice guy and trying really hard telling anyone he's a victim, behind the scenes, we see some really dirty things happening. So don't feel pity for these guys. Don't listen to their schmoozy. And I can't help myself, but let's go to my YouTube and just think this guy lives in that beautiful house. Well, I don't know if he still does, but if you go to the shorts on my videos here, you will see him really enjoying his lifestyle there in his car somewhere here. Really? Where have I not got that? Where is it? Oh, where's it gone? I thought I had a picture of him driving his Ferrari. Let's have a look. I do like this one though. Have a wee laugh at this one. And I did just see that. There it is there. A rich man's world. So this is Mike in his new Ferrari. And I think from memory, he couldn't quite afford it. But Mike, Christopher actually co-signed for this one. But here he is driving down the road. And this is this moment in life where he just thought he was unstoppable. He's driving your car, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you want to speak up about individuals like this? Look at him. And he's just feeling the power of that car that you bought him. And he's living the dream. And so I just wanted to show you that. I'm not rubbing salt in the wound, but here's a guy telling you that he's lost everything. Or put everything into being with Christopher. So anyway, what I wanted to do is to talk firstly about a Florida judge appoints a receiver to oversee assets of crypto firm Goliath Ventures. At the end of the day, it's just the first step in a long process for victims, said Jordan Shaw, chair of the commercial litigation practice of Shaw, can't say the last name, whose motion seeking appointment of a receiver for the collapsed crypto hedge fund, which isn't a crypto hedge fund, was approved Tuesday by Broward Circuit Court. So, interesting enough, I don't personally have the time of day for Jordan Shaw. Now, he can reach out to me and ask me for what I know and why I'm saying that. But this guy got in the public arena quickly, and he told everyone that he believes he has reason to believe that there could be $1 billion locked up. So he reached out to the courts, and the courts appointed Meland Budwick as the receiver, which is great to have a receiver. But we're hoping that the receiver doesn't selectively pick who he goes after, potentially because maybe he's connected somehow, and we can't surmise anything. But what I'm sort of saying, I hope the receiver goes after all the partners, and every partner, these people that came from nowhere with no money, who are now living in these type of houses, who claim on video that they had no money until they met Chris, because we've got it on video. Now they've appointed these receivers, and because Jordan Shaw is representing Nick Petrillo, who, which I've actually shut down now, was the company COO, the Chief Operating Officer, And I have to put these images back on the screen because if you think about it, we've got photos of these guys together at the beginning of Goliath Ventures when they were theoretically going to be doing a water-cooled crypto mining that never got off the ground. And this concept that you're looking at was by Maze, who make mining cool, is their slogan, which isn't their company. And they use this company's imagery. And I showed you this yesterday, but everything's important because I feel like Vimeo, here it is, Vimeo, hopefully we've got the right one. So yesterday we showed you these videos, and these videos are another company's videos that have slapped Goliath Ventures logos on them. So if you looked at this crypto mining video here, which we're going to see, you can see this is what was on the homepage of Goliath Ventures website for months. And you can see blockchain technology, DeFi, all the words that confuse people. By leveraging cutting-edge technology and strategic management, join us in shaping the future of technology and business, claiming they've got offices in Dubai, and then you've got Goliath Ventures logo stuck on top of that. But if you go back to, this is the hidden Vimeo channel that my Avengers found, and then go and look at the original videos, which is this one here, you can actually see this is the untouched, unedited video showing this mining, water-cooled mining thing that never eventuated. But once you get to the end of this video, you will see it's nothing to do with Goliath Ventures. And I've never seen those photos of Nick and Chris standing in front of here before until yesterday. Thank you very much to the Avenger that sent them through to me. However, what I'm getting at is they stole the concept from another company. And there's the other company there, Maze, and they make crypto mining cool. Now, we reached out to Maze and asked them what connection they have with Goliath Ventures, and they've never come back to us. We've got no response. I even talked about how this video here is 8 months old. Those other videos are 13 months old. So I'm assuming at one stage they were going to chop this video up that you're looking at the moment and basically allege that they were going to be expanding their crypto mining operation that didn't exist. And maybe this video's intention for this video was to mislead people into thinking that they were expanding and going great guns so they get more investors in. But as you may not be aware now, but it was a straight Ponzi scheme. That means every time they found a new investor that paid in, they used it to pay the old investors to keep the illusion alive as much as they could. So we mentioned that in yesterday's video, so I don't really want to dub up. But when I got these videos here, I had to share these pictures. I had to share this with you, and I'll keep that there. But what we're going to look at now is our biggest worry is that the partners are not going to have their assets frozen. I personally believe that I have seen expenditure from each partner in excess of $3, $4, $5 million. So if we can claim that money back times 18 people, that's a big chunk of money. If we can go after the money from people that got paid dividends, and they have made more dividends, like early investors are the ones that make the money in the Ponzi scheme, and they claw back that money. So one investor put 15 million in, right? And they will have a bank record of that. So let's put that 15 million in, and let's take that off the total of 328. We now have $313 million unaccounted for. That investor that put 15 million in received $2.8 million in dividends. So now we have $2.8 million worth of money that can be distributed back to the investors. And that's a start, isn't it? And then we've got another $6.7 million from Christopher. So now we're up to 9 million. And now we know that Nick Petrillo, who isn't a victim, claims he's got $40 million owing to him from Chris, but that's not right. because Nick Petrillo had 900 people under him. And that was the rewards that he was getting, the backhanders he was getting. And now he's crying foul, and he's expecting Goliath Ventures to pay him out $40 million for reward money for sending over the cliff 900 investors. Then we had Punit Shaw, who claims, well, we've heard claims that he's got 500 people underneath him. We found 175 phone numbers in a WhatsApp group of victims that have lost money to him. And it came from the Chamber of Commerce in Orlando and also in Canada, because they managed to get into those circles of friends and encourage their friends to do the same. They all walk off the cliff together like the Pied Piper. So you could say that Christopher is the Pied Piper, or you could line up a great big long cliff edge and have 18 people walking people off the cliff edge. And I'm sick and tired of being the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. So I'm asking you guys that walked off the cliff because you're embarrassed that you followed the Pied Piper or one of the Pied partners, and you're embarrassed and you don't want to speak up about it. I am on my hands and knees begging you guys to be brave. Reach out to me on Signal. Now, this video that you're watching right now, if you go into the scroll to the bottom, there's a more button. And in the more button, there's a description about this video. And there's 3 ways to contact me. My preferred contact method is Signal, because I keep losing my WhatsApp account because people keep reporting me. Thanks very much. Or you can email me. But to be honest, my email box is full and I'm still trying to clear it from coming back from America. So excuse me if I haven't replied to your emails. Emails just clog up my system. Real time is how we need to fight these scams. So use Signal. I've literally got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 8 messages in Signal as we talk right now. And what? Interesting. What have I got? Lots of good things coming in. So you can see me messages right now. That's great. Somebody sent me information I've just showed on the screen. You're a bit late. Let's get containers of photos. I'm just making sure I can read this. I might actually read this out loud. I think I'll just make sure it's not incriminating anyone that sent it to me. So this is, so this was the story. I'll just have a quick, actually, I'll just copy that off somewhere else just in case it does do what I think it might do accidentally. Let's see. It's going to get rid of the screen. So these black shipping containers that we just talked about, funny enough, we might have to come back to that. Yeah, I'm going to read this because I think we'll come back to this, but I'm just going to go back to these black shipping containers because that's what I'm saying. So these shipping containers, this is what intel we've just received, and I've read it, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't mention anyone's names. I hate doing this live, but that's why we're here, though, isn't it? Let's do these live. I'll just do a paragraph at a time so I can keep ahead of it.
Black shipping containers in the photos appear to be customized hydro-cooled immersion or liquid-cooled units for Bitcoin crypto mining, located in Dubai Investment Park, UAE. The logo visible on them is MEI, or a stylized version with interlocking letters, which is associated with Crypto Miners AE, a UAE-based company specializing in crypto mining solutions, hardware, and hosting.
Right, so that's great. So what I'm getting at here, all over Goliath Ventures' website, all the imagery of crypto water-cooled mining are actually taken from another company.
Crypto Miners AE operates mining farms and hosting services in the UAE, including Dubai and Abu Dhabi areas, and they build/deploy hydro mining containers there. Their facilities use high-quality, modified containers, often black-painted for heat management or branding, to house ASIC miners like Bitmain S19 S21 series and immersion cooling setups for efficiency in the hot climate.
Right. So that's the problem that you have in Dubai, I presume. It's so hot. They need to keep these things cool. So I think we found the company that we're watching there behind. I'll scroll while we're listening.
They've shared content about their latest built and operated hydro mining containers in the UAE, which aligns with the setup shown. Rows of connected, black containers with ventilation/lighting, in an indoor or enclosed warehouse space. Other companies in the UAE, for example, We Mine, Mining Farm Dubai, or international providers like Container for Middle East custom units offer similar modified containers. but the specific MEI branding ties directly to crypto miners AE's operations and promotions.
Wow, that's so cool. Thank you for that intel. So that's what, if you want to become an Avenger, reach out
For
to me on
more
Signal.
details, check their site, Cryptominers AE, or contact them. Plus, they offer hosting, sometimes with promos like free hydro containers for bulk miner purchases, and seem active in Dubai investment park zones for such facilities. If this is from a specific post or person, it might be their setup or a partner/client site.
Yeah, so I'm not saying these guys are associated to Goliath Ventures. If anything, Goliath Ventures would have tarnished their reputation by using their imagery. Now, I can't see the same pictures on here, but we actually did I will do something really clever. I'll just show you in real time. I hope you haven't got anywhere to go. But let's just go back to our, let's just go back to, I'm trying to find it. I'll show you what we do here. So we're going to go to Vimeo. We are going to go to Webnology, which is the company that we believe has helped Chris out with their with plagiarizing these videos, but that's just me. And we're going to stop it right about, oops, hold up. We're going to go here and there. And then we're going to do a screenshot on that. Then we're going to put that in here and we're going to right click on it and go search with Google Images. And let's see what we get. Maze recruiting, Maze. So it would be interesting to see, maybe somebody can do that rather than me holding up everybody here. Maze runner. So Maze, so the other way, I can't seem to find it. Maze, we make mining cool. Let's have a look and see if we can find anything here. But I believe this company didn't actually ever take off. Cool. Let's see if we can just find an image. Maze. No. Some of that looks like them. Let's have a look. Now, why couldn't it have done that? There we go. Oh, mazeminer.com. Alrighty, so now we're at mazeminer.com, and this is the company that we reached out to and asked whether they had any connection with Goliath Ventures and never got anything back. But DeFi Technologies, oh my goodness, isn't this so similar? DeFi Technologies, sound familiar? Maze, well, and I bet you moon mining. Moon mining? Okay, so let's go menu. Let's see, big news products. Now, what have we got here? Maze, product services, hosting, Maze one. I don't know what this, but let's have a look. Mining container. I love these websites. They have all this stuff that does nothing. Nothing's just sitting there hosting. Really? Is it going to stop it? Oh my goodness. But yeah, I think you get the point. I'm making, what have we got? Anything about us? About us? Maybe that will have photos. I love these websites that are closed. Maze. I was expecting to see the same containers. I do believe that is the company that may have provided the container and the concept. But I would love to know more about their, which just turned up to go nowhere. Okay, I think I've done my dash on this. Have you done your dash on this? Alrighty. All right, so let's go back to what that says. And let's see if I can get that read for you. The first thing we're going to look is I'm going to try reading it myself and if I get stuck. A Florida state judge has appointed a receiver to take control of Goliath Ventures Inc., granting an emergency request after finding an immediate and, I can't even read that word, but I know what it is. Let's just read it anyway.
A Florida state judge has appointed a receiver to take control of Goliath Ventures Inc, granting an emergency request after finding an immediate and irreparable risk that the cryptocurrency firm's assets could vanish without swift intervention, and the 9-page ruling by Broward Circuit Judge Michael A. Robinson marked the win for Jordan Shaw, chair of the commercial litigation practice at Shaw Lewins, who, with associate Gabriel E. Morales, filed the Friday motion seeking appointment of a receiver for the collapsed cryptocurrency hedge fund. At the end of the day, it's just the first step in a long process for the victims, Shaw said, but we're hoping that at a minimum, Michael Budwick, the receiver, will be able to shed light on what's going on, collect and distribute the information, and we're looking forward to working with the receiver and a good group of lawyers to go after any money we identify to recoup. The order comes as investor lawsuits have piled up in state and federal courts. Goliath Ventures operated as a cryptocurrency Ponzi scheme led by its former chief executive, Christopher A. Delgado, according to prosecutors. Delgado, 34, allegedly drew in investors with false promises of steady monthly returns from cryptocurrency liquidity pools, raising at least $328 million. Authorities further alleged that the money was used largely to pay earlier investors and to satisfy withdrawal requests, while also funding lavish company events, holiday parties and luxury travel. Prosecutors allege Delgado diverted investor funds to buy 4 homes valued at between $1.15 million and $8.5 million. The feds announced Delgado's arrest and criminal charges Tuesday, the same day Robinson issued the receivership order. The ruling freezes Goliath's operations and appointed Michael Budwick, a partner at Meland Budwick, as independent receiver with authority to secure bank accounts, digital wallets and company records to preserve remaining assets for investors. IMG 3966, J.
Right. So our biggest fear is that 21 Ventures is Nick's company. Now, Nick's company has been paying dividends on behalf of Goliath Ventures Inc. because each of the LLC companies that was set up was handling money. How am I saying this, Danny? They were set up to pay the dividends to their downlines. So if that receiver isn't told that he should go after 21 Ventures, he's not doing a service to the victims. And technically speaking, because he claims that he is, I'm just trying to get ready for our next section here, because he claims that he's owed $40 million from Christopher, he still bought himself an $8.5 million house, even if it does have a $5 million mortgage. He's been switching the license plates between vehicles in the last 48 hours. He's been featured on the website here as the COO. We know that we have got the documents where Nick Petrillo has been paying people, and he's been emailing people on behalf of Goliath Ventures and 21 Ventures, telling people how they are meant to get their money, blah, blah, blah. He's been calming the farm, telling people they're waiting for audits that don't exist from people who shouldn't be doing audits, like Matt Burke. We've also been told that it just gets stupider and stupider, this. Nick is not a victim. Nick is a predator who's gone after people. And if he claims that the $40 million is recoverable because that's what he invested, that is a lie. The $40 million that he's asking for has come from rewards from walking 900 clients over a cliff. So we're hoping that Jordan Shaw will either not represent Nick or the other 2 cases, which is Nick's ex-business partner or the person that purchased Nick's business, are the 3 individuals that filed the 3 cases in Broward County. So that's our biggest fear. I'm just going to get rid of some of this other noise on here. So there's Nick, as I said, and Christopher at the early stages together. Are you telling me that he's an investor? Or are we telling you that Goliath Ventures is not Christopher Delgado, even though he had control of all the purse strings? He had a company structure and a corporate image. And here's your chief operating officer, Nick Petrillo, who needs to go down. This is what they told people they were investing in, and it was a lie. This company has not got these containers set up. They did have a premises, they did have cheap power set up, they had a concept container, but it never got off the ground, and that's why we're struggling to find it. Here's similar sort of containers, which is really interesting, which I'm going to leave open for my own thing. Here's some imagery, which I believe, they're fooling investors. Here's the company that was trying to get the water-cooled myelin off the ground, and they've stolen their videos and put their logos on top of them. And that's basically it. So Maze and this company, I'm going to keep their websites open because that was quite interesting. But there is a method in my madness. What I want to do now, I've thought a wee bit. I think we've covered everything that we need to. You have time to speak. No, I am live on the internet now. That's funny. No. You can talk to me now, but it will be broadcasted live. I'll just go to that person. So that's somebody who's reached out to me just now, who's probably... I know it is. Good. Right, there we go. All right, so let's carry on. So the second part of this is... this second part of this... Oh, that's not the right one. Let's try that one. The second part of this live is actually to help victims. And this is something that we've researched together with the Avengers, and we've put it together, and we want to share it with you. And we want it to resonate with you because we are asking. So tomorrow, we are going to be doing another live. So if you go to today's video, you'll see the thumbnail here, Victims Speak Out. And if you go to the live, you want to make sure that you have been notified. And in here, you will see all the people that now there's two people not in here, and that's Pierce Curry and Matt Burke. They aren't in this photo. But all these people in these photos are not victims. They are predators who have gone after people in communities and encouraged them to invest in Goliath Ventures. Christopher it's not a one-man band. There's other instruments that made this thing. Here, tomorrow, we're going to be asking victims to come forward and talk to us. In the description of this video you're watching right now, you'll find ways that you can reach out. If we don't speak out about this, then you might as well just stop even trying to get your money back. You need to be... I'm talking more about this than anyone else, and I haven't invested. You guys need to fight for your money and stop this happening again. Right, so that's enough said. So what we're going to do now is, if you've lost money and have questions, we're going to open up the chat room. We're going to ask people, questions. A guide, what to do next, where to turn, and how to help others. So what we've done is we've broken this into 3 sections, and that is basically where to turn. If you're in Canada and you know that the Americans leading the investigation, then do Canadians have a say, or where do they turn and what do they do? How can you help others? So if you've got family members that have invested and they're all upset, this is very serious. I explained yesterday that my why is because I've had 2 family members die by suicide because I was brought up in a religious cult and they couldn't live up to the expectations that religion put on them. And unfortunately, they decided to die by suicide. But when it comes to investigating these scams, I remember when I first started looking into these scams, and I was actually in the New York Times, and a lot of people reached out to me like they do, and they say that we can help victims. We're an organization that chase down Ponzi schemes and scams. One company said to me that they were investigating one scam, and in that one scam, they had identified 11 people that had died by suicide. And since then, I've been reached out to by numerous organizations that tell me the detrimental effects that these scammers have on families, individuals, and a lot of this happens behind closed doors. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of people have invested money they shouldn't really. It might have even been company money that they got access, and now they have to front up or live a double life. And some people don't even tell their wives what they've done or too embarrassed. I know one guy that got himself so much in debt, his wife had no idea until her credit card didn't work at the supermarket, that her husband had put in all the money. Now, you might be living in that situation right now. So, if you are reading this because you believe you may have lost money in an investment that is now under investigation, you may be experiencing mixed emotions. Confusion, anger, fear, and grief. Now, grief is the one that a lot of people really find hard. I've had a few hard knocks, and I'm sure a lot of people have also had those hard knocks in life. You also may have some questions like, what happened? What should I do right now? Should I report it? Should you report the crime? I can't tell you what to do. However, if I invested $100,000 plus, I would definitely report it to somebody. We believe there's 2,000 victims out there, if not more. And if every single one of those people chose not to report it, then these guys are going to get less and less of a sentence in jail. The chances of the liquidators, the receivers, trying to distribute the money is going to be a little bit hard. Now, what are you going to do if you decided not to report it, and then you realize that Christopher, which he has, 3 or 4 weeks ago, decided to start helping with the investigation? And let's just say they've taken the website down, and the database of every single investor that's associated with Goliath Ventures has now been given to the investigators. We've got about 170 people on file that we believe are either promoting it or have invested in it, and we call them persons of interest. So here you are. You put $100,000, like one lady reached out to me the other day and she wants her name removed off my website because she said she found out it was a Ponzi scheme and a scam, and she decided to take her money out and run away, and she's home and safe. So I said, oh, well, can you tell me the date that you invested the money? And can you tell me whether you received any dividends? And can you tell me whether you were flush? Or did you just take out your principal and leave the rest on the table? She didn't want to talk to me after that. So imagine that lady is now going to get a knock on the door, and we've got her name, and the investigators have got our database, and they match it and go, oh, Danny's corresponded with that person, and they haven't done anything about it because they were hoping not to get caught. And they've got a contract from Goliath Ventures, but now it's all over the media that it's a scam. And you're sitting there literally with stolen money. So should you report it? Well, I would have to say, in my opinion, yes. Can I recover my money? That's a serious question. Well, there does seem like there is some money on the table. So even though I've said the money is all gone, which it is technically, but the assets are not all gone. The real estate is not all gone. But when you see a house that's been bought by one of these partners, my team of Avengers, we look at whether there's a mortgage on that house. We have realtors who are telling us that there is a mortgage on that house. And we've got lots of clever people that have been telling us what's happened. So we are fully aware that a lot of these big flash houses that you see are actually not owned. Nick Petrello, a poor victim, he bought an 8.5 mansion, a ranch, and he's got a $5 million mortgage. How do my team of Avengers find that stuff out? We know where the money is and where it may not be. If one man thinks it's important to own 18 different Rolex watches, over $4 million worth of watches even today, then how many Rolex watches are these young fellas wearing who haven't even reached the age of 40 yet? I mean, I'm 56 years of age and I still haven't driven a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, a Rolls Royce. I don't think I've actually ever been in a Rolls Royce. I've never been in a Lamborghini. I've never been in a Ferrari. The flashiest car I think I've ever been in was just recently, and I can't tell you which type of car it was because you'll probably figure out whose car I was in. But it did have the engine light on, and I suggest they took the light bulb out to fix the problem. Right, can I recover my money? Well, I'm not going to give you false hope. There is some money on the table. How do I cope with the emotional and financial impact? So this guide is going to help you emotionally and give you some practical steps. So what's the first thing we believe you can do? Now, you might just want to do some screenshots along the way. I'm making sure, and thank you to all the comments in the chat room. If you can, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up. It does actually tell Google, or whatever that thing is called, YouTube, that you like my videos, and it does actually help. And even, would you believe, hitting the love heart button tells you that you like what I'm saying, and that sends out signals to YouTube as well. And also, every time you subscribe, I tell people, Sadie, she gets paid nothing around here, but she's beautiful. And she does such a good job of cleaning your screen, which is quite good. And Pixel's barking his head off in the background. So anyway, first thing, take care of yourself. I've been going to bed 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I don't even know what time I went to bed last night. And as I said, I was posting things on the internet. And I can't even remember when I wake up. So I went out to get a shave and a haircut today, and I feel better. But we've been putting lots of things into this, and we're only investigating it, right? So we haven't been doing what you guys are doing and going through the trauma of losing your money and realizing that you've been defrauded. So first thing is to take care of yourself. Discovering financial loss from fraud can trigger deep emotional responses. And as I said, in some cases, people can die by suicide. And people have reached out to me and said people are going to die because of this. And we don't know who has already. And I'm not saying that's an option, please, but do reach out to people. You might be approached by someone, and I've got a lot of training when it comes to helping people who are thinking suicidal thoughts. And a good friend of mine actually has wrote 2 books on suicide. And he said the best thing that you can do when you meet somebody who looks like they're not too good in health is to actually ask them directly, are you contemplating suicide? And if I've asked people that quite a few times in my job, and 5 times I've had people go, yes, I am. And then you say, have you actually made active steps for planning your end? And I've had that answered before as well, as yes, I have. One guy even gave me a date that he was planning to do it. And I said, well, I can't experience what you are going through right now. So I can't comprehend what you're going through right now, but I'm willing to come with you and get some help. So you might think you can talk them down, but the best thing you can do is actually go with them and get the right help. So victims often experience shock and disbelief. Now, we've had that. Anger and betrayal. These are my mates. These are the guys I went to school with. These are the people that I trusted with my life. Like 2 firemen rung me up, lost $100,000 each. Apparently, they're still doing their own research. Now, you know who you are. I wish you guys would ring me back and talk to me. I've got your numbers there. But really, you're going away they said to us that they thought that Goliath Ventures was part of Black Rock. And I had to tell them that actually it's Black Block. And that's owned by Matt Burke, who does fake audits. And also they said, but Christopher's been on Forbes magazine. And because they're a fireman and they don't realize how this internet world works, I said, anybody can be on Forbes magazine. You can pay for a sponsored advert. They were in disbelief. They said that they had walked into burning buildings with Steve Davis and they trusted him. And I said, well, you shouldn't trust him with your money. Shame and embarrassment. Come on, guys. This is honestly number 1. It's the shame and embarrassment. Don't be embarrassed, please. These guys are professional. This is the same thing. So that's one of the biggest things that I get. I'm shamed and I'm embarrassed. Anxiety about the future. You've spent your life inheritance money. Money's not going to give you happiness. I'm literally on the bones of my ass. I'm financially going backwards fighting Goliath Ventures. It is Danny and Goliath, I tell you. But I've had money. My biggest year ever, I took home $275,000 in 1 year for wages. My company would turn over $500,000 a year. I did that by selling $300 web page sets up, and I'd set up somebody's web page at the time, charge them $300 and $30 a month to keep it all going. I remember when I got to $15,000 coming in regularly from hosting fees, It meant that I didn't have to work so hard. I built myself a house in the country. I had a panic room. I had a satellite dish. And then one day the wife decided she didn't love me anymore, wanted a divorce, and we overcapitalized in the house, and I basically lost a lot. But my business actually generated me a six-figure income for 10 years in a row. So I didn't have the money that these guys was pissing away. My wife had a convertible, Volkswagen convertible. I drove a V8, Holden V8. I've had 3 V8s. I've owned 3 Santa Fe Elites. I've owned 2 Suzuki Swifts. I drive one now. My wealth is, I've got a $15,000 Suzuki Swift. I bought it brand new for $33,000. It's now devaluated. It's now 5.5 years old, and it's worth $15,000. That's the only asset I have in my life. Even if you've lost everything, and speaking from someone who right in front of you now has lost everything. I nearly died once on the operating table, spent 2 weeks in hospital fighting for my life, lost 9 kgs in a week, managed to find it again somewhere. But I can speak from a little bit of experience, but my story isn't your story. You might have had $1 million sitting in the bank, and you've just lost a whole lot, and now you're back to zero. Even if you're back to zero, there's some cool things you can do. Last night, I'm in a running club. I got on my scooter and I went to my running club and I ran around Hagley Park. I only ran 6:16 average. I used to run when I was younger, 5:23 average. So I'm a minute off my time when I was 39. I'm now 56. I run around the park and I go, I hate this running. I hate this running. But I go back and I have a beer with my friends. We talk. They ask me what I've been doing. I said, well, I've been to America. And I have friends and I have relationships. Now, you can lose all your money, but don't lose all your friends and family. Find your best friendships and form those relationships. Become a better version of yourself. Money is not everything. Don't be ashamed and don't be embarrassed, but talk to people. Share your experience. Don't keep it inside. Anxiety about the future. Let's get rid of that. Let's look at this as another chapter in your life. Strain in family relationships. That word relationship is my loveliest word ever. One thing that my Avengers and I have is a very trusting relationship. I have been, some stuff that's been going down recently, I've had to put my 100% trust in some of my Avengers who look out for me. When I went to America, I actually met 4 of my Avengers face to face. One of them was Richard. He drove 9 hours through some of America to pick me up from the airport, and we had a lot of fun. So relationships are number 1. Some people experience severe emotional distress or even suicidal thoughts when the loss feels overwhelming. Now, overwhelming is when you're in the water and you keep bobbing under and you can't breathe, and you keep going under and you get up and you can't breathe. That's overwhelming. You know, you don't have to share your burden. You don't have to carry this one alone. If you are struggling, please remember, there you go, you are not alone. Many intelligent and successful people have been victims of fraud. The emotional impact is real and valid. So they went after doctors, surgeons, all the clever people that I'm just amazed by. All the people that can save people's lives when they have a car accident, or maybe they have, unfortunately, the cancer. All the people that, psychologists, they went after everybody. We've even, there's victims that are accountants, people that are in the banking industry have invested in Goliath Ventures. So, if they've been fooled out of their money, and they have, then don't be ashamed if you have, because there's a lot of intelligent people that have lost money to Goliath Ventures. If you're feeling overwhelmed and thinking about harming yourself, please seek support immediately. If you've got a good friend, and they should be a good friend, and my advice to anybody is, if somebody comes up to you and they tell you that they have lost all their money, they are depressed, they feel perplexed, they can't see a way out, they can't sleep at night, then nothing wrong in asking that question. Do you feel suicidal? And if they say yes, then don't tell them, oh, I know how you feel, because you don't. You don't know how they feel, but you can go with them and get help. And so I can't carry this burden for you, but I can walk beside you. I can back you up. If you need a shoulder to cry, somebody to hug, I like hugs, let's do it. And let's get over this obstacle together. You're not alone. You can contact 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline in the United States. So you can just ring 988 if you get to that point. Now, have I ever felt suicidal? I think everyone thinks about suicide every now and again. No. Because I've had 2 people in my immediate family die by suicide, often people think that I think suicidal. I look at it another way. If I'm going to go out of this planet, I'm going to go out fighting for something I believe. I think ethics and values, I'm always trying to be a better version of myself. If you go back 4 years on my YouTube channel, when I got confronted with people on the internet, I used to be spitting down the mic, yelling at them. And now when I spoke to Steve Davis the other day, I'm more articulated with my words. I've become a better version of myself. And you can learn from this. It's a bitter taste. Now let's say it is a bitter taste, and then you drink some other Kool-Aid and it's a nicer taste. You need the bitter taste to appreciate the nicer taste. Money is not the love of money is, they say the love of money is the root of all evilness. Money isn't evil, but money is not going to buy you happiness. A lot of these assets that these people buy, seriously, they really are veneer lifestyles. The Instagram lifestyle, you've all seen it. These Instagrammers pretending that they're happy, showing off their work. If you're sitting at home with your 18, can you imagine Christopher now sitting there lining up his 18 Rolex watches as the federal government comes in and says, you've got to hand them over, Chris. Who's he going to share those 18 watches with? The love of his life. Remember Valentine's Day on the 14th of February? We showed you those beautiful flowers he bought, Tay, right? He's got no one to share that with. He's going to be in jail thinking, I had 18 Rolex watches once that I stole from the community. I used to have a Ferrari. I used to have 2 Rolls Royces. I used to have a Bentley. You know, who's he going to share this with? So friendships don't rely on wealth. If you are sitting there with people that have to show off, you know, when you go out and you meet somebody, I used to go to business events and a lot of people used to come up to me and just talk about them all the time. I did a Dale Carnegie course and they told me to actually ask questions to draw that person out. After an event, especially when I was in my business networking and everyone wanted to talk to me, I used to go there and say nothing. I used to just go there and ask questions and people used to tell me their thing. And very few people would actually ask me questions. I used to come home exhausted. But this is a great way of show an interest in other people. Have a listening ear. The businessmen I like are the ones that listen. And they find those details, those gems. So when your person's offloading to you, see what you can learn about what they say. I'm getting off track. A trusted friend or family member. They tell you that there's 5 immediate people in your family that you talk to at least every day. So find those 5 people. The greater circle, there's meant to be 25 people that are friends, but you might not see them for 2 or 3 weeks and you still call them friends. And then the bigger circle is 50 people. So from my research, there's about 75 people that everybody sort of knows that you can actually maintain friendships. And after that, it just becomes acquaintances. So look at your 5 closest people in your life and figure out who they are and get closer. Say nice things, have a listening ear, and have a heart that cares. Stop talking about me and start listening about them. A licensed counsellor or medical professional. Now, I've actually had to talk to somebody once after we had earthquakes, after my divorce, after leaving the religion. I remember one day driving around town thinking I have to talk to somebody. I went to one place, talked to the wrong person. I found another guy. At the time, it was $180 an hour to talk to this guy. He said, tell me what you're going through. And I told him everything. He said, nothing wrong with you. You're perfectly normal. Get into my office and go get a hobby. And I said, oh, can I see you tomorrow? And he said, no, I'm going off fishing. Okay. But I connected with that guy. Go and find a licensed counsellor that you connect with. Pay some money and put it on your credit card. And if you can't afford it, but go get the right person to talk to. A mental health professional. Do not assume the first one you talk to is they're all the same, because I did. The first one I met, I remember going to the counter. He was a minister of some sort, and I just did not connect. He didn't even understand what I was talking about because he was more interested in what I did to make money online when I was doing my IT stuff. And he said, I don't think I can help you. And I said, thanks. And when I got out to the counter, it said, how much do I pay? I said, how much do I pay? And it said, if you earn $30,000 a year, you pay this much. If you earn $60,000 a year, you pay this much. If you earn over $100,000 a year, you pay this much. And I thought, oh my God, do we have to? I just couldn't figure out how it worked. Anyway, I finished up paying twice as much as the most expensive option available at the time the very next day, because I found somebody I connected to, and that was really important. Financial loss is painful, but your life and well-being matter more than money. I can't express that enough. Number 2, pause before taking action. There's no hurry. You don't have to line up and do a class action lawsuit against these people. And to me, it seems like negative juju, to be honest. When fraud is discovered, the instinct may be to act quickly because you want to get rid of this problem and this bad negative juju, but it's not going to happen. However, rushing can sometimes create problems. Before taking major action, gather your documentation. Now, I'm really good with IT, believe it or not. I can't read and write, but I'm pretty good on a computer. Now, I've got 41 terabytes of hard drives on my wall over here. And I have broken everything into, you could ask me to find a video about any Ponzi scheme or scam that I've done over the last 5 years, and I could find it within a minute. And I could have it hooked on to some sort of digital delivery service and have it sent to you where you can click a button and download it within minutes. You want to learn how to get everything in order. So you've got your emails, you've got your screenshots, you've got your WhatsApps, you've got your telegrams, you've got your signals that you might have been communicating. So create a folder for each one of those. And I don't personally believe you need to put dates in all of them, but you can get some clever software. So you could download all those screenshots, put them all into the folders. I use a program called Meland, which I will put I will just open that somewhere else. But Meland is something I like. Now, it's no good because I use it for, I'm just going to put the link for Meland in the chat room. Boom. All right. But that's a wee program I use because I'm visual. And that program is pretty awesome. And it makes, you can basically build, you know how you go into maybe an office and you can see the big wall and all the strings all tied together. It's great for people with dyslexia. So I like using that, but it helps me put the same structure on my hard drive when I create all the wee folders. And then what you can do at the end of the day is you can zip all those folders up and send one zip through to the investigators, for example. So gather your documents, put them in a real, organize your information, avoid confrontations or public accusations. Like, so if you're out at a restaurant, I know that Christopher was out at the Vines restaurant and we believe he had an argument with Punit Shaw and it got vocal. I mean, okay, Punit Shaw's not a victim. He's one of the partners who's now realizing he can't afford his mortgages properly. He brought 500 people into Goliath Ventures, just to rub that in a bit more. But avoid public accusations and confrontations. Avoid paying anyone who promises to recover your funds. Now, I can't stress that one enough. There's videos out there now. If you do a search for Goliath Ventures, there's all these crypto recovery companies. This is not a crypto company. There's no big pile of crypto. This was a straight Ponzi scheme. Yes, some people did hit the blockchain, but there's no money to be recovered off crypto. It doesn't work, and there's no such thing as crypto recovery. That's just a scam getting scammed twice. So if you've started to go down that route and you're talking to somebody who sounds really convincing and they're building trust with you, stop, and come and reach out to me. I'll prove to you that that is a scam. Take time to understand the situation and your options. Document the story. Now, that's a really, really, really good one. Now, I've got one hell of a story because I've been doing this since September the 1st. I even document the storyline. Timelines are a great thing. Start a journal. Start a journal from now. Just do notes on anything that happens. Even give it a code, like 0018114. And then anytime you need to hashtag that, you can search for it and find that reference, whatever it is. Include how, when you start the journal or writing down your experience, how you first learnt about the investment? That's really cool. How did I first hear about it? People often say, why did I start investing in Goliath Ventures? I got an email like I do every day. Somebody said, have you looked into Goliath Ventures? I said, no, what do you know? They wrote back, they gave me a contract. I had a look at the contract. I put the contract into ChatGPT, which I wish all of you would have done. And it came back and said, whoa, look at all the red flags. There was a breeze coming off the screen at the time. So we want to know, and you can know, how did you first hear about the investment? Now, I know 90% of people are going to say for a friend, and that's how these Ponzi schemes grow. That's why a lot of people don't want to go after the partners, because they're friends of the family. And I've known the guy since I was a little toddler. Well, unfortunately, he had blindness. He had willing blindness. They shouldn't have done it. And okay, now I'm a victim. It's just not going to cut the mustard. So how did you first learn about the investment? Who introduced you to it? Meetings, calls, or presentations you attended? And we know some of this was ran in Zoom meetings, which was amazing. We found out that Piers Curry was running Zoom meetings trying to encourage investors. Some investors said they were playing along and they were feeding us information. Thank you very much. So who introduced you to it? Meetings, calls, dates and amounts invested. If you put $100,000 in and you've got 20 back, you're owed 80, not 120. However, if you go to a lawyer, they'll probably tell you to go for the 120 because the more money on the table, the more impressive it looks when they're going to go after the person. Payment methods used. Was it Wise's Bank? Was it JP Morgan? Was it the Bank of America? Because if you said either one of those to us in our investigators team, like Wise's is a credit card company that allows you to transfer money into bank accounts. I've got an account myself. We managed to stop $250,000 in the Bank of America simply because somebody showed us the timestamp of depositing $250,000. We used that and generated a flag on a Bank of America account, and that account was frozen. So payment methods are really important. Crypto wallet, when you get distributed funds, if you got paid in crypto, where did that come from? It's really interesting. Withdraw attempts and the responses received. These are people telling you lies that you've got in writing. Really important to get those. Any bit of correspondence, even the correspondence I received from somebody on the 1st of March today was useful. I managed to find out where Mike's house is. If it is his house, I don't know if it is, I'm assuming. Creating a timeline helps. Clarifying what happened. Support investigators. You guys, look, if I ask you guys to come on camera with me tomorrow, or even if you don't come on camera and come on voice, that is going to be great because that shows unity against the people, the victims are real victims. Even if one of these, let's say that these partners are claiming they're victims, why aren't they speaking out to investigators? Why aren't they talking to me? Why aren't they helping me with the investigations? Are you telling me that these victims or these partners don't have a database of all the people that they invested into Goliath Ventures? If they handed that over to us, we could do a better investigation. So here they are holding back critical information when we're full stream ahead in this investigation. And I meant to just think that these guys are not victims because they're not helping the investigators. So you can help the investigators by telling us your story, telling us who you know who's signed up, giving us names of people, family members who have all signed up. You might be surprised we might already have their names in our database. So keeping quiet isn't an option. Assist attorneys or financial professionals. Okay, the next one is gather important records. I hope you're screenshotting these as we go through. Collect and safely store. Investment agreements. I mean, we have got, I would show you, but it's too tricky to show you all the contracts that we have got. Bank wire confirmations, money received. Cryptocurrency transaction records, emails, text, WhatsApp, Telegram, marketing presentations or pitch decks. Some of the pitch decks that we just received like a month ago, we hadn't seen. And somebody just handed them to us like, oh yeah, have you seen this? And I go, no. So this stuff helps us with our investigation. Screenshots of returns or account balances. Now the website's gone down, a lot of people will be thinking, oh, I forgot to do that. Helpful tips, organize your documents by date. If you can, on the file name, you can right click on it and go rename. What I normally do is I put, I record everything and I usually put the date at the very start. And it could even be as good as the 9th Tuesday, September 2025. I actually joined them all with hyphens, just for saying, because they save better when you're online. Organised by date. Save screenshots before the messages disappear. Now, if I'm on WhatsApp and I'm a clever boy and I don't want to talk to anybody, I can actually delete all the messages. So you want to screenshot those, scoop them all up, put them into a folder month by month, year by year, and then you've got them all done. So back up your files securely. Good wee idea is you can buy one of those hard drives and you can plug it into your computer and you'll have it with you. If you can do that, that's great. Or put it into a Dropbox, some cloud-based thing where you can share it to people who want that information. These records may become important evidence. Consider reporting the fraud. Now, a lot of people aren't doing this because a lot of people are waiting to see what happens, but come on, you've got to report the fraud. Victims often ask whether they should report what happened. It's a really good question, but a lot of people are asking that question because they're not doing nothing. I don't know what you're waiting for. In many cases, reporting helps investigators understand the scope of the scheme and identify additional victims, and I can't express that enough. Possible reporting channels. The Federal Bureau of Investigation's Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Investors Complaint System. What's that word there?
Commodity futures.
Commodity Futures Trading Commission, if trading, or what's that word?
Derivatives were involved.
Now, I've literally, with my team of Avengers, been in a CFTC Zoom meeting with those guys. They actually said to us that you guys are amazing. They tell me that they watch my videos, and they also tell me that they are amazed with the amount of intel that my team of Avengers were able to gather on Goliath Ventures, and they applauded us. That's amazing, isn't it? Okay, so the Internal Revenue Service like the IRS is my favorite agency because they're the ones that when you go after the government's money, they come after you hard. So that's the Internal Revenue Service for potential tax violations. You might not realize that one investor I know of that every time he got dividends, he took it off the platform and then reinvested it. Unfortunately, he created a tax event every time he did that. But here he is, might have lost $200,000 or $300,000, and every time he took the money off the platform and reinvested it, he's now lost that money and has to pay tax on it. So you might need to get advice in that area. But anyway, that's why if you're receiving payments from 21 Ventures instead of Goliath Ventures Inc. or some other LLC companies, then you want to report that company for fraud, because why was that company paying you with money that they collected from Goliath Ventures? State security regulators or consumer protection agencies. False advertising is one that we have in New Zealand. False advertising. You can report to as many agencies as you can. We do it when we take down websites. We just go after we go after the hosting company, the domain provider. We go after copyright. We go after YouTubes. We go after everything you can. And that's why you won't find me on Facebook. You won't find me on Instagram. You won't find me on TikTok. You won't find me on Reddit, because these scumbags actually come after us and do the same back to us. But that's what we do all the time. We report every single thing they do. So we wrote to Salesforce numerous times telling them that Goliath Ventures is using their platform to commit fraud, and they gave us deaf ears. We wrote to about 9 different email addresses in Salesforce, but they continue to use it. So could it be possible to go after Salesforce for facilitating these people? Well, yes, I believe, because they ignored the warnings and they provided the getaway vehicle. Who knows? Seek qualified legal advice. Investment fraud cases can involve complex legal issues. Victims may wish to consult attorneys experienced in security fraud, financial crime, asset recovery, civil litigation related to fraud. Legal professionals can help evaluate potential criminal claims. Sorry, I can't read that word, even though I know it.
Participation.
Participation in lawsuits, recovery options, right as a victim in a criminal case. Rights as a victim in a criminal case. Right, so I will talk briefly, but I spoke to a lawyer and they said that they go after the banks, they go after insurers, and they go after the accountants. And all those professional indemnities they go after because they may have done, things they shouldn't have done. And so they will go after the insurance companies behind those organizations. So that's something I didn't realize or didn't think of, didn't know, because we haven't dealt with victims in the past. But that's something I learnt by talking to professionals. So, talk to these guys. The idea of paying a $20,000 retainer so they take on your case might be a bit of a hard pill to swallow. I'm not saying do or don't do that, but some people are willing to do no fee, no win sort of stuff. But don't go to Jordan Shaw's team because he's actually representing Nick Petrello. Just saying, my advice only, I wouldn't go to any lawyer that is representing a partner who was part of the problem. And I just can't express that enough. It actually pisses me off, as you probably figured out. Explore tax guidance. Significant financial losses may have tax implications. As a qualified CPA or tax attorney may be able to help you with documenting the losses. You may actually be able to not pay tax for a long time. Who knows? Theft loss reductions, amend tax returns, IRS reporting requirements. So if you've lost money to a crime, there may be some tax benefits. I'm not a professional, but that's something that you may actually find, oh, that's actually quite good. I don't have to pay tax for the next 7 years of my life. Who knows? Professional advice can help assure losses are properly documented. Yeah, you can't do this one on the seat of your pants anymore. Right, now this is the part what I'm trying to do right now and tomorrow especially. I want to connect with other victims carefully. Fraud often affects multiple people in a network. Connecting with others can help. You can compare timelines and you can compare stories, share documentation. That's why we love investigating Goliath Ventures, because every time we get a new contract, we find something slightly different. And they were moving with the tides of keeping this scam alive. And it was amazing, some of the things that we saw. And also when we got old contracts and we found out they were using JP Morgan bank accounts, then they were told people at one stage that they had to find a new bank because the bank they were currently using couldn't keep up with the growth of Goliath Ventures. And we're going, you're telling people that and they're swallowing that, which is basically meaning the accounts were frozen. And as I said yesterday, and I'll say it again today, 3 months before this, the criminal charges were laid against Christopher and Goliath Ventures, we know that they had subpoenaed the bank records from those accounts. So the Homeland Security and the IRS had actually already subpoenaed the bank records from Christopher, and they had access. So Christopher obviously has been helping for weeks in this investigation before he was charged. You may not have known that. Now, if that's the case, why are people still sitting on the fence thinking Christopher might not be a naughty boy when Christopher is already helping with the investigation? And remember, way back in the first, I think it was the 2nd or the 3rd of September, we reached out to Christopher directly and we said we have concerns that you're not doing what you're claiming you're doing on your website to generate the 3 to 8% returns that you are paying investors. And he didn't answer us then. So from that day forward, he just thought that we were nobodies. Now look at us. Support. So look, share your documentation, support one another emotionally, because this is going to be an emotional journey, not a financial journey from now forward. Encourage others to come forward. I know that you've tried your best. Some of the correspondence that we've had with people, it really is heart-wrenching. I've got a family member and they've lost their money. They're too embarrassed to come forward and they want to keep it together. I shared a video a couple of weeks ago about a lady who invested $250 and managed to get $30 back. And because of that, they finished up encouraging her to invest $1 million. She went and got $1 million mortgage on her house. And then they told her that she had to pay more money because she is now in a different category of investor. So she went and got another $200,000 on her mortgage. She's now $1.2 million. Then they told her that she had to pay a tax, something or other, and another licensing fee for something or other. She went and borrowed $500,000 from friends and family. And then when she was on camera, she had now got herself into $1.7 million worth of money. She was over the age, she was retired. And now this lady has lost everything and owed her friends $500,000. It all started because she invested $250 and got $30 back. And because of that reason, she thought it was the real deal. She lost everything. Even on camera, she was still blurry-faced. She was embarrassed to let her friends know what she did. She's going to lose her house. She's going to lose everything. And she'd literally have no money. You know, it's disgusting. So, so what I'm saying is, we need each other. We need to support each other. So avoid spreading. So why I got into that rant was because encourage others to come forward. We need each other right now. However, it's important, don't avoid spreading unverified rumors. So when Christopher was arrested, somebody sent me a message telling me that he was arrested in London Club. And I said, and I don't know why that person thought that was funny, but they didn't verify. We had to verify that because that wasn't funny. It was friggin' hilarious if that was true. But I could have come on stage and sort of said to everyone, Chris has been arrested, and he has been arrested at London Club, which was ironic because they used to call London Club their offices. And let's not talk about the bond room and all the correspondence that we've had from people that work there. But my point is that if I stood up here and told you that Christopher has been arrested in London Club and gave it to you because somebody spread some rumours, it would have made my reporting look pretty sad, and you wouldn't believe anything that comes out of my mouth. So don't do that. Don't avoid spreading unverified rumours. It's not helping anybody. Protect sensitive financial information. I mean, when you don't have any money, it's really easy. But when you do have money, we know some people have invested money that isn't theirs. We've heard of stories where people haven't been doing proper things with their staff's money, and there's a lot of things in this investigation that we can't even talk about yet, which is absolutely gut-wrenching. It hurts your stomach. What people have done to invest in Goliath Ventures is going to blow you away when it really comes out. And some of it we are unfortunately privy to. Focus on facts and documentation rather than speculation. People ring me up and they go, oh, they'll be able to recover the money. And in my hand on my heart, I can't say that. But yeah, it does make sense that there is going to be some recovery. I mean, if they recover a third of the money, I think that's a success. And if we've got 2,000 people that have invested in Goliath Ventures and they all are transparent with their investment, and we get a third of the money back from spending hours and hours and hours, that's great. You know what's going to slow that down? People not coming forward with information. It's time to be transparent. It's time to share your story. It's time to share your story to the world. I've got 3 international media organizations wanting to speak to victims. And I'm talking the big boys. They've reached out to me. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but they are looking for people who want to share their story. It doesn't mean you're going to be named and shamed. It means you're going to be a friggin' hero. I will stand beside you if necessary. Like today, I did a thumbnail about today's meeting, and I think it's that one there. Boom. So here I am sitting on a cozy couch with a victim, with a reporter or a husband, and this lady is brave. She's telling her story on camera to the world, and it helps educate other people. Oh, I don't want to do that, but I want my money back. Well, You need to do that if you want your money back. Everyone I talk to would be saying, if I lost $100,000 or $1 million, I'd be squawking like a canary. Support networks can be helpful when approached thoughtfully. Number 9, there's 11 of these. I think there's 12 of these in total. What to say and what not to say. Now, you stupid idiot is not the words that people want to hear. It is not the right words, and it's not true. Many victims want to speak with friends, family, and investors or investigators. What you say can matter, especially while legal proceedings are going. Helpful things to say. Now, interesting enough, I had a lawsuit pending in America, even though I'm a New Zealander. They claimed they had a lawsuit against me. Well, they didn't, because they didn't have any jurisdictions. We wrote in a motion to dismiss, but 2 days before they filed a discontinuance, they sent me another letter, basically intimidating me to agree to send a letter to the courts, saying that if I lost, I would incur $300,000 worth of legal fees. So basically, they were threatening me with $300,000 lawsuit, claiming I would have lost and claiming that I would be lumbered with $300,000 worth of legal fees. I didn't see that email until 5 o'clock in the morning when investor rang me up and woke me up from a deep sleep. They still haven't got back to me, actually. Be more than welcome to. And I sat there with my Avenger and we wrote a reply. 1 minute before I was going to send that reply, we received a discontinuance from the courts. So why am I telling that story for? People are worried that these guys might do a lawsuit or something like that. Mate, if they can't stop me, and if they have backed down from me, they're not going to do a lawsuit against you. You're a victim. And speak up. Don't, helpful things to say. Focus on the facts and the documentation. You don't have to get too complicated. It's not too, you just invested some money in a high risk investment, being told it was insurance. So it's not rocket science. And you trusted the person that encouraged you to get involved in it. Examples include, here is the timeline of my investment. These are the communications and the documents I received. These were the representations made to me when I invested. This was what happened when I attempted to withdraw funds. I am sharing my experience so investors can understand what occurred. Sticking to verifiable facts helps create clarity. So that's what people will ask you. If you want to share your story to an investor, they just want to know the basics. They don't want you to pour your whole heart out. They don't want you to tell you, that you feel you're silly, embarrassed. You can just do the hardcore facts. Be thoughtful when discussing losses. It can help to be honest. It can help to be honest but measured. You might say, I'm still processing what happened. Now, isn't that a nice way of saying it? People want to know how you really feel. Like, people often say to me, why do you do what you do? And I find it easier actually saying, I don't know why I do what I do. And that's because that's the honest truth of it. So if somebody says, how do you feel about it? Do you feel silly? They might make all these assumptions. You could just come back and say, well, I'm still trying to process what's actually happened, to be honest. This has been financially and emotionally difficult. I mean, let's not talk about the elephant in the room. This is devastating stuff. So why not tell people it's devastating stuff? I'm gathering information and cooperating with investigators. That's great. Honestly, encourages other victims to come forward. It's small steps. I mean, people say to me, how do you eat an elephant? And I say, one bite at a time. I'm Danny, and we've just taken on a $328 million Ponzi scheme and scams. Every single partner has been named, boo-hooing me, telling people I'm an idiot, and all this sort of stuff. But we just took down Goliath. It's just like David and Goliath. But we did it. How did we do it? People say, how did you take down Goliath? And I say, one mouthful at a time. Let's get these partners by one victim at a time coming forward and sharing this. Honesty encourage other victims to come forward. Things to avoid saying to victims. Certain statements can be intentionally create problems. Avoid making accusations that cannot yet be proven. Now, one of them I'm telling you that every single partner will have a stash of crypto hidden somewhere. And I can't help but think that's true. Now, whether they tell people where that is, as soon as one of them blows the whistle and they've got a cold storage wallet stored somewhere in some deposit box somewhere on the planet, no one's going to tell them. They all would have had an exit strategy. Everyone in business, do you have an exit strategy? Do you have a wall? Do you have, a worst scenario? Like if there's a fire, what's your exit strategy? These guys all had exit strategies, if you want my opinion, but we can't assume that until it's proven. Spreading rumors about the investors. Well, I push these investors. I prod them in the ribs. I make them accountable. I name and shame these individuals. Antagonizing losses or returns. Is that right?
Exaggerating.
Exaggerating. Now, this is a really big thing. Oh, I lost 1.5 million. Okay, then. Well, as soon as we hear that, we go, how long have you been invested for? And they go, or 2 years. Oh, so you invested $750,000. And they go, oh, yeah, but I hyper compounded my money because that was the thing to do. So your partner told you. So your actual losses are actually $750,000. And did you take any dividends? Oh, I took out a couple of $100,000. Oh, so your actual losses are now $500,000. Yes, but I signed a contract and they told me that if I left it in there, I'm going to get 1.7. Well, in 10 years' time, you'll have $1 trillion, all right? If you hyper compound it, affinity no return. But don't exaggerate your losses. Those receipts where you put that money in, that is your losses. Unfortunately, if you've spent your ill-gotten gains on lifestyle or paying the mortgage, some people have literally got a mortgage and they've used the proceeds to pay the mortgage, thinking that they're getting more money with Goliath than it's costing them to have a mortgage over their house. But don't exaggerate the losses. Nobody, no stone unturned. But from my perspective, if I know a lady who's invested $100,000 and she took her money out, but she still won't tell us how much dividends she's made. So she's still a person of interest. Don't think you can get away with it. We'll find you. Because if Christopher's helping with the investigation, which he is, that means the database of all the investors are going to be handed over. Do you think Christopher's going to be loyal to the brotherhood, like Tomo suggested? Goliath strong, #Goliath strong. Christopher's going to be handing over all the information. At the end of the day, Christopher, you've all thrown Christopher under the bus, haven't you? So Christopher, everyone's focused on Christopher. And do you think Christopher's going to sit there and go, yep, it was me? The 18 other people that I help collect all the money, promote me, talk about me, endorse me, give me testimonials, I'm not going to talk about them. I'm not going to talk about them because they're my brothers and I don't want to bullshit. Christopher will be there with his soap on a rope and he will literally be saving his own ass. He's already started doing it. Remember, 3 months ago, they got a court order to hand over the books for Goliath Ventures. 3 months ago, Christopher knew this was going down. Christopher has already been working with the investigators and he voluntarily handed himself in. And he's now on an ankle bracelet sitting in the back porch of his $8.5 million house. And Chris, hi. It's so nice to see you here. Alrighty, so engaging, exaggerating losses or returns, publicly speculating about criminal charges, sharing confidential documents without legal guidance, investigating depends on accurate information, not speculation. Avoid blaming yourself. Well, unfortunately, you're just part of the cog in this engine, aren't you? You're just a spark plug in the engine of things. Collectively, some people are really finding it hard, come to terms with what they've lost. And one individual I'm going to talk about is that they've lost over $500,000. And I go, this is a $328 million loss. You're not the only victim. You're not Goliath Ventures target. You're just one of many people. So, you're just one of many. Fraud victims often say things like, I should have known better. Oh my God, if I had $1 for every time I've heard that phrase, I'd be a wealthy man. This was my fault. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm getting tired of hearing that. It's everybody's fault. The system's fault. The fact is that you can take your money out of your bank account and hand it to another person's bank account without some form of guarantee where you can claw back your money. I mean, is it the bank's fault? Is it crypto's fault? Is it Instagram's fault? Is it Chris's friend's fault? Is it your friend's fault? Or is it this is my fault? Whose fault is it? Who cares whose fault it is? Fraud schemes are designed to build trust. And I've talked about this many times. Trust is the main thing that everything's all about. They build trust. I'm trying to build trust with you because I want you guys to realize we're here to help you. I wouldn't be doing this because I've got better things to do with my time, as they often said. Why doesn't he get a real job? Well, I've got one. I do this for a living. Before deception becomes visible, self-blame is common, but it is really deserved. Don't do it to yourself. Life's wonderful, mate. Life's awesome. I've got nothing, and I love my life. I've got friends. I've got people who care about me. You can't buy that. Encourage others to speak responsibility. If you know other victims, encourage them to document their experience. Even if you don't want to talk to anybody, write a journal about what happened. Put it somewhere safe and go and read it in a couple of years' time. Because I don't know about you guys, I've had some worries in my life. I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm worrying about the worst scenario. The worst scenario actually never eventuates. Report facts accurately. Seek legal or financial guidance. It doesn't, I've got my accountant is friggin' amazing. Don't tell him, but he should charge me more. I've got such a good relationship with my accountant. He gets to make all the rules when it comes to my finances. And when I go and visit my accountant, I don't get a bill. I get a body hug. And he's like 6'4", and he just gets me and goes, and he goes, how you doing, Danny? And every year I know he's excited to hear what I've been up to because I've lived a pretty full life. Have a good relationship with your accountant. Get some good advice in you. Help others by sharing your story. And I'm a storyteller YouTuber. I tell my story. I'm transparent. I'll tell you if I'm having a good day or a bad day. My dog's out there barking his head off. One of the most powerful ways to prevent future fraud is through transparency. Now, I'm a transparent sort of guy. I don't really have any secrets as such. I've got things that I may not be proud of. We've all got that. Sharing your experience can encourage other victims to come forward, and that's how I connect with you. Help investigators identify patterns. Warn others about similar schemes, because in my opinion, this one's a bit different, I believe, but 60% of people that we see get scammed online, losing $50,000, $80,000, $100,000, 60% of people from my mathematics will go and put it down on another like-minded Ponzi scheme. 60% of people. Fraud thrives in silence, but truth helps bring accountability. Number 11. What we know about the legal situation so far. Public information indicates that the situation has reached a stage involving legal scrutiny and investigation. So we know that this is actually real. You don't have to pinch yourself anymore. You can read about it in the newspapers and you can see it in the court documents. Developments may include criminal investigators, civil lawsuits, regulatory inquiries, financial tracing of funds. So that's what I'm really proud about this investigation. When I heard they actually put a number on it, 328 million, we know that they have gone through and exhausted all incoming money. So now they're looking at that 328 million and they're trying to see where it went. Well, we know a lot of it's gone in lifestyle marketing And a lot of it's gone in flash, Zuby cars, watches, clothes, earrings, for God's sake. There's going to be some interesting items for sale at the police auctions. The legal process often moves slowly, and it does. Like I said, this one happened since September the 1st, when I, talked to the head investigator. It was amazing that it moved so fast. The fastest one in record, I believe. I'm calling this the fastest. We haven't got an indictment yet. We've only got criminal charges. But let's say when Christopher is indicted for his criminal activities, then that's going to be a timestamp that I want to take into consideration. The Avengers, myself, have all fought this together and made this happen fast. Imagine how big this Ponzi scheme or scam, or this Ponzi scheme would have got if we didn't start causing some disruption. Imagine. I have had numerous phone calls from people telling me that they didn't invest because they saw my videos. Oh, they're going to sue me now. Well, I hope you try, guys. We're going to sue you. You hear that, Oliver? Oliver, you're going to be disbarred, mate. Anyway, he'll be watching this. That's the lawyers that come after me. Disgusting what they did to me. Even though they didn't have a lawsuit, they still did dirty, dirty stuff. And that's all going to come out. We have all the correspondence. We have videos. We have all sorts of things that are going to make Oliver's life hell. It's not a threat, it's a promise. Legal processes often move slowly and may take time for investigators and courts to determine the full scope of the situation. Things are moving along quite nicely, which I'm really happy about. Victims may receive updates through official channels such as law enforcement notices or court filings. And number 12, this is the last one, moving forward, which you will all not be ready to do. I'm not ready to back down yet. I believe that this investigation has just started. Yeah, I believe that we have just started. Isn't that incredible? So the guy that started this investigation, I'm going to take that. I'm in Wikipedia. When you search for Goliath Ventures in Wikipedia, I'm the guy. But I'm telling you that we're just starting. The can of worms has been opened, and it has just begun. Although financial fraud can feel devastating, many victims eventually find ways to move forward. Recovery may involve rebuilding financial plans. You were on that, like when you get those graphs and you put the line through it, and all you see is a graph going downwards, and then you put a line through it, and then you see the average. So you may need to calculate your financial plans. Seeking professional advice. I mean, we've got a lot of professionals reaching out to us. We're happy to share those with you. We've got some great lawyers. We can tell one of the lawyers that we reached out to, it's got good in his name. We had already reached out to them previously, and then they reached out to us. There's some other lawyers that we've got in my industry, which are really amazing lawyers. And we just know it's a good fit because they have this no bullshit coming out of their mouth. And like one guy I know said the fastest way to the truth is a straight line. If you don't, like our reporting, Austin reporting, we're just reporting the news. We don't make it up. We don't need to dramatize it. It is pretty amazing. What we do, but we're only telling the truth. If you tell the truth, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy, as Rob Woolley would say. Focusing on emotional healing. I mean, hey, isn't it time to step back? Isn't it time to step back and reflect on what just happened? Do you want this negative juju energy to actually consume you? Helping others avoid similar experiences. That's where we are coming at as the Avengers. You are not defined by a financial loss. And before I read that last paragraph there, I was actually going to scoop my way up to the very start of this document. And I was going to look for that word, but it's right there in front of me because I'm doing this live. And you are not alone. You are not alone. I mean, it's beautiful, guys. I mean, you are not alone. you're not alone. Tomorrow, I'm going to tell you a little secret. When I put my video online, this one here, and it said victims speak out, see description to join, I said, my Avenger said, who's going to speak out? And I said, no one. No one's going to speak out. No one's going to come on camera. No one is going to be in that meeting except me. Why? Why is that? Are you in the grandstand watching the game of Goliath Ventures unfold? Why don't you come down from the grandstand and charge these people? Let's go. Let's get them off the street. Let's get them. Christopher, I spoke to people that are literally going to the airport right now, and they're going to the courtroom. And I said, can you take a photo? Can you do a video? And they said, no, we're not allowed to have videos. We're not allowed to have cameras, but we just want to be in the courtroom with Chris. And I think, oh my goodness, that's amazing. So I want to have my time in the courtroom. And I promise you that when Christopher is either sentenced or jailed, I will be in that courtroom. And you will meet me face to face. And I'm looking forward to that day. I'm not looking forward to hearing your story because it hurts me. It's negative juju's. But I am looking forward to you saying I learned something from this experience. I learned to be brave. I learned how to speak up for myself. I learned how to listen to other people that are maybe going through similar experiences. I learned how to process what just happened to me. You know, I have a lot of people said, I don't know where I would be if I didn't bump into me. And I go, really? And they go, yeah, I'm serious, Danny. Don't be one of the people that doesn't want to speak out. Look, I will sit here at 3 o'clock in the morning on my phone chit-chatting to you. I will keep everything confidential if you want. I had some amazing intel come to me this morning. And I will tell you, how amazing that was. Because I originally received a message and it come in and it says, hello. And I wrote back and said, hello, how can I assist you today? Which is how I normally start because I have a shortcut key for that. And then I get, this message was deleted. This message was deleted. So then I wrote back and went, hello. And then I got, this message was deleted. And then 2 minutes later, this message was deleted. 2 minutes later, this message was deleted. 2 minutes later, this message was deleted. And I didn't get to see these messages. So then I wrote back and went, hello. And then I said, and then I started again. How can I assist you today? And then I have to get clever, you see. I said everything I speak about, I keep in confidence. So then I sent a photo of Christopher. And I didn't even know if this was a Goliath Ventures one, but I just assumed. I said, everything I do, I keep confident. And then I sent a picture of Christopher sitting at the back of his 8.5, well, not his, but somebody's $8.5 million mansion. And then I said, oh, if you prefer to speak to me, you can talk to me on Signal. And then they've come back and they've started a wee conversation. They go, who's this? I said, it's Christopher outside his mansion. And then the first paragraph come in, interesting. Second paragraph come in. And I've built a relationship enough for the person to trust me, to talk to me. I'm now up to quite a few messages, but that happens every day. I'm not going to blow that person up and who they are. You know, they tell me some very personal stuff, some really cool intel that I can use to do a better investigation. Help us investigate Goliath Ventures. It's a corporate company that had a team of people that were trained how to fool you out of your money. Do not think the partners are victims. Any lawyer that is representing a partner shouldn't be the lawyer that you're looking to use in a class action lawsuit. Just because it's easier to go walking off the cliff like you already have been, reach out to us. We will not get any kickbacks from any of the lawyers that we represent. That's not what we're doing here. But we're happy to put you in touch with a lawyer that may give you a different way of fighting this. The same lawyer is not going to represent any partner. And I promise you, I'm happy to prove it. He will swear, I'll put it in an affidavit, that we will never profit from a lawyer who we'd recommend. It's not about the money. It's about our relationship. It's about building trust with you. And hopefully we'll get to break bread one day when I'm in Orlando or Canada visiting people. But let us help you. And we're asking for people. So currently we have 3 major, and I'm talking big, international outlets, journalists that are looking for victim stories. And we're struggling to get victims who want to speak. So if you want to, we want you to speak up. We want to make this, we want to blow this up. We want this to go global so that people, now we've already got things happening, and this is going to happen with or without you. But I'm Danny, and we've taken on Goliath. We've won so far. We've stopped Goliath. He's down on the ground. He's out for the count. He's about to get indicted by the US government. Right? So let's finish the bastard off. I need your help. I'm not going to ask you for anything. My why is your why. Why let this guy away with it? It's been awesome having you in my life. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for listening to us. And we'll see you in the next video. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Go talk to a friend, have a cup of tea, and send me a message on Signal. Check out the description. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video so we can get it out to the masses. And let's fight back against online crime. See you guys. Have a good night.